Hi everyone. So in this session, we're going to learn about the demand models and how we can represent the real phenomenon of demand, or rather of consumers demanding a certain good or service in the market. So let's get started. So first we ask, what are demand models? Well, demand models are ways of representing the real phenomenon of consumers buying a certain amount of goods or services at given price levels. What are the demand models that we usually encounter in SOCSI 5? There are three of them. Um, this is the demand schedule, which comes in the form of a table, which I guess you have all been familiar with already. Um, this will look like this. So you have a table where there is price on one column, and then there is quantity demanded on the other column. So you have there at certain price levels. So at P1, you have a certain quantity demanded one, and so on. All right. The other are graphs, which pictorially represent price P in the y-axis and quantity demanded in the x-axis. So this also you have seen from our from other related videos. So typically you will have here price on the y-axis and quantity demanded on the x-axis, and you will see the demand curve as a line that is slanting to the right, or negatively sloped. Okay. Why? Because we know that as price decreases, the quantity demanded increases and vice versa. Lastly, we have what we call demand equation models, which represent quantity demanded as a function of price, or a functional representation. So you have QD as a function of P. Just an example to give you, probably you have 5 minus 1 half P. So, and then this can represent your demand at any given price level. So when P is 1 peso, when P is 3 pesos, etc. So these are the three ways that we typically see the demand in SOCSI 5. So let's give a few examples. For example, in number one, oh, by the way, we will focus more here on or getting the demand equation model given a demand schedule. So that means going from one representation, the table, to the other representation, which is a functional representation or an equation representation. So here you have a certain municipality in, let me just zoom in that one. Okay, so you have a certain municipality in the Visayas area, um, which has a weekly demand schedule for dressed chicken given here. And you are asked to find an equation relating the quantity demanded of chicken as a function of its price. Okay, now in order to do that, we just recall our basic algebra. Okay, first we find the slope, and once we find the slope, we find an intercept, okay, the y-intercept. So how do you do that? Okay, so you treat your quantity demanded as your y variables, and you treat price as your x variables. So we choose 2 points to find the slope. For convenience, let us choose 200 kilos of chicken, okay, at the price level of 200 pesos. And 350 kilos of dressed chicken at the price level of 100 pesos. This will give us the slope. Okay, so we have quantity sub 2 minus quantity sub 1, and we have price sub 2 minus price sub 1. Okay, to get the slope. Sir, so that is negative 150 divided by 100. Or sir, that's 3/2. Correct. Now that you have the slope, you just use one point. Okay, let's use the point 200, 200, very convenient. Okay, right. So what do? We know that quantity demanded is equal to some constant or the y-intercept, and then, oh, this is, I forgot, this is negative 3/2. Okay, minus the slope times the price. Okay, so that's your demand model. Okay, because Q, again, we said is the dependent variable or the Y variable, and price is the independent variable or the X variable. Knowing this and using this point here, okay, this point P2, we say that's 200 is equal to B minus 3/2 times 200. Okay, so far so good. This will result into 200 is equal to B minus 300. Or finally, that's going to give you 500 is equal to B. Right. So now that we have B as 500, we recreate the demand model. Sir, so the quantity demanded as a function of price is equal to 500 minus 3/2 B. And there you have it, our equation model. If you want, you may check occasionally. So for example, when we check, let's check using 50. Okay, let's check 100 using 150. So, sir, to check, if P is 150, okay, so that's going to be 75 times 3, that's 225. So this is QD will be 500 minus 3/2 times 150. But that is 75 times 3, that's 225. So 500 minus 225, that's going to give you 275. So when P is 150, the quantity demanded is 275. So it seems that our demand model is correct. Okay, let's proceed to another example. Still the same. So let us assign this. Let's take assignment. So for example, let's assign this as 0.1. Okay, 0.1. And let's assign this as 0.2. And then we take the slope. All right. So how do we do that? Okay, so the Y, or the quantity demanded of 0.2, 1005, minus the quantity demanded of 0.1, which is 1030, divided by the price at the level of 1005, which is 15, minus the price at the level of 1030, which is 10. This should give you negative 25 divided by 5, or negative 5. So the slope is negative 5. Now that we have that, we choose one point of the many here provided. Let's choose point 2. Okay, so you have when price is 15 pesos, the quantity demanded is 1005. So that means that you have a certain constant or the y-intercept minus 5 times the price, which is 15. Right. So, sir, this is 1005 is equal to b minus 75. Or that is 1080 is equal to b. Now that we have this, we can recreate our quantity demanded model. So, sir, the quantity demanded as a function of price is equal to 1080 minus 5 times the price p. Okay, so the same procedure. First, we find the slope. Once we find the slope, we use this to figure out what is the y-intercept. Okay, because you know that quantity demanded is to some constant minus the slope times price. Okay, so you have your demand model. Now, if you want, of course, you want to be sure, so we can check, we can do checking. You choose another point that you did not use. Okay, so that means we do not consider anymore this level and this level. So let's take 1020 just to check, no? So is 1080 minus 5 times 12, okay, equal to 1020. Okay, let's see. Well, sir, that's 1080 minus 60. 5 times 12 is 60. So, which is 1020? Ah, yay. So, our demand model is correct. Okay, so if you still find it a little bit confusing, we can have our third example, practically the same um, procedure. So here in this third example, so we have in Iloilo City, the daily demand schedule for La Paz Bachoy is given below. Find an equation relating the quantity demanded of La Paz Bachoy as a function of its price. So here you have it. So the quantity demanded in regular sized bowls of La Paz Bachoy and then the price of La Paz Bachoy. Let's choose points. I'd like to choose this because I believe they are easy to manipulate. Of course, you can choose on your own different points. When the price is at 100 pesos per bowl, I the quantity demanded is 30,000 bowls. Okay? When the price, or rather, when the price is increased to 120, the quantity demanded decreases to 20,000. Okay. Okay, so again, we just used 2 points from the table to get the slope, to get the slope. Sir, so this is 10,000 divided by 20, or this is 500. Ah, mali, no? This is negative 20 here. So this should be negative 500. So the slope is negative 500. Again, we recall that quantity demanded is equal to some constant b, okay? And then plus the slope. So minus, in this case, we have minus 500p. All right. Okay, so the slope is because, why is this minus? Because the slope is negative 500. And you will realize, class, that every demand equation model will be negatively sloped because that is the nature of demand. Okay, as price increases, the quantity demanded decreases. As price decreases, the quantity demanded increases. Okay, so now that we have this, we substitute, we use 100, for example. Let me use this. To find out B, I use the point where price is 100 uh, to get, okay, at 100, this is 30,000, right? Sir, so this is, what is 500 times 100? That is 50,000, no? Minus 50,000 is 30,000. All right, so this gives you a B, which is 80,000. So to reconstruct the demand model or to finalize our demand model, so QD of P is equal to 80,000 minus 500. Right. Again, so yay, we were able to arrive at a demand model. If you want, you may check. Okay, so let's check at 80 pesos. Okay, we don't use the 2 points that we have already used. Okay, we use something else. So let's use at the price level of 80, we should arrive at 40,000. Let's check. So when the price level is 80 pesos, how many are demanded, sir? This is 80,000 minus 40,000. This is 40,000, right? Which is correct. Yay, which is correct. Which confirms that probably this really is the demand model, the demand equation model for Lapas Bachoy demanded on a daily basis in the city of Iloilo. All right, so that's all for now. See you next time.